Giratina VSTAR will be one of the best cards of the new metagame. This powerful legendary Pokemon has been long forgotten and lurking in the shadows awaiting for its moment to break back into the metagame. And if tournaments over in Japan are any indication, it's about to do so in full force. In this video, we will go over the two different versions that you can use to play on the Pokemon TCG Live ladder or at your next tournament. If you like this kind of content, I upload all sorts of Pokemon TCG content from deck profiles, tournament overviews, card analysis for latest revealed cards from Japan, and more. Subscribe if you want to see more of that. I'm Tablemon, and I'm one of the best Pokemon TCG players in the world. Giratina VSTAR released all the way back in September of 2022 in the Lost Origins set. The set featured the return of the Lost Zone to the Pokemon trading card game, a place where, unlike the discard pile, cards can never ever be utilized again throughout a game. There were many cards released that utilize this mechanic and reward you for sending cards to the Lost Zone, with the most useful being Cramorant, which can attack for free once you have 4, Miragekate, which can power up 2 different basic energy to any of your Pokemon once you have 7, Sableye, which can place 12 damage counters on your opponent's side of the field once you have 10, and Giratina VSTAR, which can knock out the opponent's active Pokemon without doing any damage with its VSTAR attack once you have 10 as well. With the support of Comfey's Flower Selecting ability, which looks at the top 2 cards from your deck and sends one to a Lost Zone, and you keep the other in your hand, as well as Colruyt's Experiment, which looks at the top 5 cards from your deck and sends 2 to the Lost Zone, while skipping the other 3, getting enough cards in the Lost Zone is actually pretty straightforward. Giratina VSTAR is a very powerful card, with its attack Lost Impact dealing 280 damage, which is enough to KO all other Pokemon VSTAR and Pokemon V. Combined with its VSTAR attack, Star Requiem, which immediately KOs the opponent's active Pokemon, you can then easily deal with Pokemon that have more than 280 HP, such as Pokemon VMAX or Stage 2 Pokemon EXs. One version of the Giratina VSTAR deck is solely focused on the Lost Zone, which combines all the good Lost Zone cards, allowing for some quick pressure with Cramorant, and has multiple attacking threats including Giratina VSTAR, Drapion V, Snorlax, Sableye, and even Radiant Greninja. The other version of Giratina VSTAR sees it paired with ARCEUS VSTAR and Flying Pikachu VMAX. ARCEUS VSTAR helps the deck set up and establish a good board presence, with Giratina VSTAR working as a big damage output threat, whilst Flying Pikachu VMAX helps deal with the threats in Lost Zone box decks. Both decks are very powerful in their own unique way, so let's dive deeper into a list of each one to see how they work. If you want to support the channel, you can use code Tablemon to get 5% off at Post and Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 20% off for your superfoods at M&Ms. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. Starting with the Lost Zone base deck, it relies heavily on the use of Comfey's Flower Selecting ability and Colruyt's Experiment to get going and get a lot of cards in the Lost Zone to activate the benefits of cards like Cramorant, Miragekate, Sableye, and Giratina VSTAR. Using Colruyt's Experiment as early as possible is key to this deck's success, as it lets you get closer to those crucial numbers in the Lost Zone. The decision for it is a lot kinder than Comfey's Flower Selecting, as you get more variety within the cards you see. Pro tip: unless you plan on using a different supporter this turn, I advise you to use Colruyt's Experiment before using Flower Selecting. Not only is the decision easier since you get to keep more cards than you send to a Lost Zone, but now you have more information on which cards you have access to in your hand. The different attackers allow the deck to adapt to situations and manipulate the price trade in its favor. Cramorant and Snorlax are fantastic single price attackers which can deal some heavy damage, and you can combine them to 2-hit KO Pokemon VSTAR as their damage adds up to 290 over the course of 2 turns. Giratina VSTAR of course can 1-hit KO opposing Pokemon VSTAR, VMAXs, and EXs with its attacks, while Sableye can pick off previously damaged Pokemon or set up multiple KOs by eliminating an opponent's Manaphy from their board and giving Radiant Greninja an opening to pick off 2 more Pokemon with Moonlight Shuriken. Finally, Drapion V is a direct counter to Mew VMAX, which should remain quite popular for a long time, and Manaphy helps protect your bench from opposing Radiant Greninjas in mirror matches or against Lost Zone box decks featuring it. Mirage Gate can quickly power up Giratina VSTAR to fulfill its attack requirements, needing a Grass, Psychic, and one other for Lost Impact, or just those two for Star Requiem. It can also help power up Radiant Greninja and Snorlax, or find that crucial Psychic energy for Sableye when there aren't that many left in the deck. The other supporters in the list help out the deck by providing bench targeting with Boss's Orders to eliminate potential threats, Hand Disruption with Roxanne, and Pokemon and Energy Recovery with Clara. The deck features Battle VIP Pass and Nest Ball to establish a solid board, but there's no direct way to search for Giratina VSTAR in the list, so it's something to be very careful with when choosing cards to send to the Lost Zone, and also when you bench your Giratina Vs. Hisuian Heavy Ball helps you out in mitigating annoying prizes, especially with your one-off Pokemon. The deck also runs a heavy amount of switching cards with Switch Card and Escape Robe to help get Comfey in the active spot and use its flower selecting ability multiple times per turn if possible, as well as the right attacker once it's powered up and ready to go. Energy Recycler provides some much needed item-based energy recovery, as between retreating, Radiant Greninja's Conceal Cards ability, and sending energy to a Lost Zone, it's important to be aware of how many energy you have access to so you don't ever use a Mirage Gate and find yourself without the right targets for your best possible play. The two stadiums help in different situations, as Beach Court helps in retreating and getting more flower selectings done, whilst Temple of Sinnoh helps nullify special energies effects, such as V-Guard, which Pokemon V-Star like Lugia V-Star or Arceus V-Star could use to avoid getting one-hit KO'd by Lost Impact. The energy spread is at a healthy 13 count to be able to power up and use them to retreat, whilst ensuring you draw them consistently throughout the match. Thanks to the colorless cost in Giratina's Lost Impact attack, you're able to play Water Energy to open Radiant Greninja as another threat your opponent has to worry about. The Lost Zone variant of Giratina VSTAR is very powerful and complex, and every small card you send to a Lost Zone could make or break a game, so make sure you practice a lot with it. If you have enjoyed the video so far and found the information useful, please consider becoming a Tablemon channel member through the join button down below. For as low as $1.99 a month, you can help feed Tablemon some peanut butter M&Ms or lunch so that he continue making more videos. The second version of Giratina VSTAR sees it paired with two other powerful attackers, ARCEUS VSTAR and Flying Pikachu VMAX. This deck doesn't focus on the Lost Zone at all, instead opting for a more traditional supporter setup and uses ARCEUS VSTAR's Trinity Nova attack and Starbirth ability to set up, whilst providing a solid secondary attacker against Lost Zone box decks with Flying Pikachu VMAX's Air Balloon attack. Pro tip: even though Giratina VSTAR carries the deck with its huge damage output, you're not going to do much if you don't prioritize getting an Arceus V out with an energy attached on turn 1. That will set you up for the rest of the game, not only to power up Giratina VSTAR, but to also make sure you can get 2 consecutive attacks with it, since Giratina VSTAR will be sending 2 of them to the Lost Zone. Though don't forget, you can choose 1 double Turbo Energy instead to cover the cost of Lost Impact. Starbirth is the best consistency based ability in the game pretty much, and guarantees you'll pull off a Trinity Nova and start dishing out continuous damage. Giratina VSTAR provides a heavy hitter to deal with opposing VSTAR Pokemon. However, with the maximum damage output sitting at 280 for this deck and no access to Star Requiem, it's important to prioritize your targets. Thankfully, only Gardevoir EX and Mew VMAX have higher HP, but Gardevoir EX's self-damage from its own ability will probably put it in range of a Giratina VSTAR KO, whilst Mew VMAX is swiftly dealt with through Drapion V and then a bit more pressure with your other attackers. Finally, the chunky Flying Pikachu VMAX provides value as it gains immunity against every Pokemon in the Lost Zone box decks, and is valuable as a Lightning type attacker against Lugia VSTAR, whilst protecting against its main attackers Tyranitar V and Stonejourner. Bibarel not only has the best art in the history of the Pokemon trading card game, helps sustain the deck throughout a game by providing extra draw support. Pumpkaboo helps ensure you can pull off the crucial turn to Arceus VSTAR Starbirth ability by removing a path to a peak from play. And Radiant Gardevoir provides a little extra protection for your Pokemon, and is coincidentally very good against opposing Giratina VSTAR, as it reduces the damage from Lost Impact to 260, and thus Arceus VSTAR and Giratina VSTAR avoid the KO. Supporters wise, we have a good but greedy combination of consistency versus utility, and we can get away with only 5 true draw supporters thanks to the amazing Starbirth ability. And Judge barely counts as a draw supporter, as 4 cards really isn't a lot. Boss's Orders helps target the right threat, Raihan helps recover from a KO, while Share and Scare provides a welcome defensive turn by negating damage dealt to your Arceus VSTAR. Finally, Roxanne provides more disruption than Judge, but is also less reliable as it is not useful in the crucial early game. Maximum counts of Nest Ball and Ultra Ball help ensure we can set up our Arceus V on turn 1, and Arceus VSTAR along the right attackers on turn 2. Hisuian Heavy Ball is a nice clutch inclusion that can sometimes free up that second Giratina V or the Radiant Gardevoir, which can be crucial in some matchups. Escape Rope is there in case we start something that isn't Arceus V or Flying Pikachu V, whilst Choice Belt helps increase Giratina VMAX's damage output to that crucial 310 magic number to 1 KO a full HP Mew VMAX. The stadiums can play a crucial role for this deck, as a turn 2 Trinity Nova plus Judge and Path to a Peak is a dream come true for this deck in terms of applying pressure and denying resources for your opponent. Collapse Stadium is also quite good, as it can disrupt an opponent's bench if timed well, whilst also denying easy prizes to your opponent, acting like a heal card by removing a previously damaged or unevolved Pokemon from play and not letting your opponent target that down and easily bypass your current threat. The energy spread is as consistent as you can be, with 14 energy being a very healthy number in order to ensure you have an attachment pretty much every turn. Double Turbo Energy to help fuel the ever crucial Trinity Nova, and V-Guard Energy to help mess up the maths of opposing Pokemon. It's very important to know which energy are prized throughout a game, to make sure you don't mistakenly assume you can pair up or attack with a Pokemon when in reality you can't. Especially important in games where, for example, you might have to attach a Grass Energy to Arceus V on turn 1, and then discard another with Professor's Research. And the last one is prized. That means the only way left to attack with Giratina VSTAR that game is through freeing up the Grass Energy from the prizes or reattaching one with Raihan. Both of these versions had their time on the spotlight back at the start of the 2022-2023 season. Nowadays, the Arceus variant of Giratina VSTAR will surely be less popular than the Lost Zone 1, but will still be powerful nonetheless. And with Lugia VSTAR getting heavily punished by rotation, and the loss of 4 key attackers and special energies, the format should slow down enough to where Giratina VSTAR can rise as a true contender of the format. And who knows, maybe in a month's time, we will be hearing about how people want it banned, because now Giratina VSTAR is taking up 30% of the meta share instead of Lugia. Hopefully this video helped you out with a solid understanding of the best Giratina VSTAR decks from the Scarlet and Violet set and rotation, which we'll certainly see play at the first big tournament after rotation, EUIC. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment if you found it useful or if you think there's something I overlooked. Until next time!